For 21 years, I never had a sip of alcohol. And it wasn't because I was trying to follow the law or for religious reasons. It was because my dad made a deal with me when I was 7 years old. And this is the story about that deal.
Just a little bit. No, too far. There. Cool. Thank you.
Does this have sound?
Dude, you're the worst.
When I was 7 years old, my brother and I walked in the kitchen on a Saturday afternoon. My dad was sitting there having a beer, nothing out of the ordinary. And we decided to ask if we could try some. And he said no. And we decided to ask again just to make sure he heard us. And he said no. I then asked why. And instead of giving the typical response of, "Oh, you're just a kid, you can't have alcohol," he said the following.
Spencer, I'll make you a deal. If you don't drink until you're 21, I'll take you anywhere in the continental United States for your first beer.
So that day, I decided I wasn't gonna drink until I was 21. And that's a relatively easy decision for a 7-year-old to make. And it got progressively harder as I got into high school and went on to college. But all those challenges of saying no to alcohol at countless parties and functions all faded away when I found myself at LAX last March with my dad. It was the weekend of my 21st birthday, and I had decided I wanted to go to the Northwest, Seattle to be specific. I knew that I didn't want to have my first beer in some bar in Los Angeles or New York City. I wanted it to be something different, and I wanted it to be something special. I'd waited all this time, and I didn't want to be sitting next to a bunch of strangers at a bar. So on the morning of my 21st birthday, my dad and I woke up before the sun even rose, and we headed towards the Canadian border. I'd found this place called Mount Baker that looked like a beautiful place for a first beer. And by the time we got there, it was pouring rain. But we pulled over, we got out, and we found this beautiful waterfall. And it was at that place that I had my first beer with my dad. My first taste of alcohol ever.
March 14th, 2015, I'm 21. We are here in Washington at Mount Baker, first beer.
And it was horrible. I ended up pouring out half that beer because it tasted so bad. And then once we got to Canada, I tried wine, and that was even worse. And I was like, what is this? Did I get tricked? Like, how do people like alcohol? It was disgusting. But then a couple weeks later, I was at a friend's house for a dinner party. And I was sitting on the couch, and I'd had a couple drinks. And I remember I stood up, and it was like, whoa, what happened to my balance? And then it was like, oh, my words aren't coming out so clearly. And then finally it was like, oh, hello, confidence. And for the first time in my life, I was drunk. And for the first time, I didn't have full control over my body. And I finally understood why alcohol can be so addicting. And next week, I turned 22. It's almost been an entire year since I started drinking alcohol. And I've been through so many phases with alcohol. And what I've come to know is that it's not cool to look forward to getting drunk every weekend. It doesn't matter what my friends are doing. It doesn't matter what my favorite rapper is rapping about in his latest hit. It doesn't matter what I see on Instagram every night. Because every time I get drunk, every time I abuse alcohol, I'm never proud of it the next day. And nothing good ever happens. I don't want to be this person who relies on alcohol to have a good time, or this person who thinks alcohol equals confidence. Because I was plenty confident before I ever had a drink, and I had so much fun before alcohol was ever in the picture. And I've decided that I need to treat alcohol with more respect. Just because it's around doesn't mean someone needs to drink it. Doesn't mean I need to drink it. Because alcohol is an incredibly powerful substance. And I feel that it has this ability to take over my life, even though I don't want it to. So thank you, Dad. Thank you for sacrificing 12 years of drinking just so that I'd be safe. Thank you for treating me like an adult when I was 7 years old. And thank you for leading by example. That goes such a long way. I can't even explain it. And without this promise, without this deal you made when I was 7 years old, I would have most certainly started drinking before I was 21. I would have sacrificed my first beer with you by this waterfall, getting drenched, for some random liquid that was in a red cup that was handed to me at some party with people that I necessarily didn't care about. So thank you. Get all emotional over here. It's like the sun setting and like the camera. Okay, I think that's good. For those of you who don't know, my name is Spencer and I make a weekly video that comes out every Wednesday talking about something I'm going through or something I've learned. So if you like what you saw, feel free to come back next week. Thank you. Now I'm gonna get back to acting like I'm doing something.